What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Apollo. Now, if you didn't see our last vlog from Alton Towers, please do go check it out. It was a really good day despite all the, let's say, discrepancies that Alton Towers experienced on that opening day. You'll have seen other reviews from it, but otherwise, please do go and watch it. It was a really good day. In that video, we actually did get to experience Alton Towers' latest attraction for 2025 in Toxicator. Now, I may be a little bit late to this topic, but I wanted to get my thoughts on it really clear and out to you guys and let you know what I personally think of the ride, as I was able to get on it, and not only get on it, get a nighttime ride on it. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on the experience, let you know what I think about the ride and whether I think it's a good fit for Alton Towers. So if you are going to enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. So then, Toxicator. I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's just Ripsaw. It's Ripsaw 2.0. No, it's not Ripsaw 2.0. It may be a throwback and kind of a nod to Ripsaw, but it is nothing like the former attraction in the Forbidden Valley. Toxicator is a suspended Huss topspin ride, a ride very, very similar. In fact, it's almost the same model as the ride out in Phantasialand, known as Talocan. Now, I haven't been there. I couldn't tell you what the experience is like. However, it's the same ride model that you'll get out there. A lot of people, if you've gone on YouTube, you'll see a lot of comparisons made to that ride because obviously, you know, when they're the same model, different sets of theming, you know, they're going to draw comparisons. But this is the new attraction for Alton Towers in 2025. It does not replace Ripsaw as a direct repetition. It replaces it as a brand new attraction, Ripsaw operating from 1997 to 2015. Now, this sits right in between Forbidden Valley, right by Bunker 94. Just behind the ground center coffee station, I believe is what it's called. It's essentially had a lot of a repath now. So when you walk behind the coffee station bit, you'll actually be walking under this massive pillar where Toxicator does sit now. It now stands as the highest topspin ride in the country at 78 feet high. That's because it's obviously been raised up onto this platform that was being constructed across the 2024 season. And that is something that, you know, provides two purposes. You can go underneath the actual ride bit itself, and there's a lot of cool posters and placards which we'll get into in a second. But when you walk under that, that's actually where you lead into Bunker 94 now. Obviously, you can go around the coffee shop looking opposite to Nemesis Reborn, and that's where you'll get into Bunker 94. However, there's just a little separate path, kind of towards where the Blade used to be from Alton Towers. The Blade where you used to be, you go around that pathway, you go lead onto Toxicator by the guest services and the food establishments, or if you head over to the left, you'll lead into obviously Nemesis Reborn and the little subsection there. Now, what makes this ride different from Ripsaw? Now, obviously Ripsaw was also a topspin ride, however, if you featured a main few differences, mainly the one with Toxicator being suspended element, whereas on Ripsaw, you would sit on 2 rows, with obviously a floored bottom on it, so rather than your feet dangling like they are on Toxicator, you would sit on 2 rows and it would just go into one direction of movement. Whereas with Toxicator, as it's a suspended topspin ride, it can sit 38 passengers, so that'll be 16 per side. There's 2 sides to it. When you go on the left-hand side, you'll be facing towards the likes of Nemesis Subterra and obviously where the Blade used to be. That was the side that we got to experience on the opening day. And then the other side would be the probably much more favoured side where you get to see Bunker 94, Galactica and the roller coaster restaurant there. That's probably the best side for views. But bear in mind, we rode it at night. You're not really going to see much anyway because of the lighting. But there are 2 sections to it. So rather than everybody facing one way and experiencing kind of the same attraction just in different seats or different tier of seating, you'll actually be seeing it from 2 different perspectives, and it shows in the ride's program and what the program it runs for the attraction. Restraint wise, rather than having the overhead restraints and a lap bar, which was featured on Ripsaw, this one actually features just purely the overhead restraints. Again, the suspended aspect. You're meant to have that sense of hanging, that sense of airtime when you're going around the cycles, through the flips and rotations. You know, it's a really comfortable experience. I must admit, I was terrified by the idea of it, you know, but the more you get into it, the more you immerse yourself into the experience and put your trust in those restraints. Not only do you feel comfortable, you do feel safe and secure. So that's something you've got to consider about if you're scared to do it. It is restrained, it is safe, and it is secure for you. So you don't have to worry about that fear, because bear in mind, you know, these rides don't get put together without the right safety and administration. So that was a nice feature there. Obviously, the colour scheming goes with the green and black. I know a lot of people were talking about it, like how it doesn't fit in with like the blue and the red. But bear in mind, you know, Forbidden Valley, it's got a roller coaster restaurant, which I know is not meant to be part of the themed area, but yet again, that's what comes into the area as its own thing. Galactica's blue. The Blade was like brown and yellow. You know, and bear in mind, for the theming, you know, when everyone was building up to the build of this attraction, there was a lot of concern whether it would fit into the Forbidden Valley area. And I think it does it really well. But where it really helps itself is just the general storyline and theming that they've gone for this attraction. The idea is that themed around the Phalanx technology, so kind of expanding upon Nemesis being this like core foundation to the storyline of the area. They've been using their technology to extract and refine the toxic saliva from the Nemesis creature, turning it into a powerful chemical solution. Now, this solution is called Wasperium, which, as a little nod to it, if you actually reverse it, it says Ripsaw. And it is meant to be so powerful that anything it touches, it will melt. Now, this is obviously, again, to tie into that Phalanx theme of like there's this mysterious corporation, you know, what do they want from the Phalanx? What do they want from the Nemesis creature? What is their real plot here? And it really shows well in the theming throughout the station and just the general queue line as you build up to it. Like I said, when you pass through, you know, obviously this massive pillar that it's built up against, there's a lot of signage that is obviously tied to, you know, Nemesis. There's a little reference to "Can you cut it?" the original catchphrase for Ripsaw. You know, there's a lot of theming. There's a really cool effect if you ever do get to see it at night. On the one side, it's like a graphic, almost like chalked on, of how they take the saliva from the Nemesis creature and how it builds stage by stage to get to become Wasperium. And if you do get to go at night, along with like these tubes of the green slime passing through it, it's all UV lit. So it's a really cool feature, like you just see this bright purple elements that they clearly want you to focus on. And it's a really nice reason to not only go under there and explore it, but actually read the storyline. Obviously when it's not being shitted on, but you know, we don't talk about that for the opening day. But yeah, that's a really cool feature there. And obviously all around the station towards the queue line as well, there's a load of barrels with the Wasperium that's been leaked over. It's clearly melting away at stuff, and it's clearly showing that, you know, it's very toxic. You don't want to be messing with it. So obviously the queue line, you go straight through. There's about 4 queue lines. So when we went in, there was the obviously single rider queue, which is very interesting because given how many people that can be seated on this ride, you're not going to see many, you know, of those gaps filled in. Sure, towards the end of the day, you might get the gaps because obviously, let's bear in mind, it's a flat ride. It's not something that's going to massively be a capacity filler attraction. However, it's something that will, you know, perhaps at least take those queue times down. There's ride access pass. There was 2 ride access pass queue lines, which I believe will become one of a fast track queue line in the future. And obviously, then you've got the main queue itself. Now, from speaking for myself, because bear in mind, we went on the opening day. Essentially, you go around to the side of Bunker 94, pass around the back towards the steps of Toxicator when you go up onto the platform. And then you just essentially loop back around on itself. So you stay within this little confined area. But for us, it actually took us all the way down to practically the Skyride station and back up. That's how busy it was and how exciting it was. But I tell you what, when you stand there, and especially when we was at night, you get some great views of the cycle as it's going over, especially with the lighting. Now obviously you pass on up through the queue line, you go up to the steps, and at that point, you know, just before you actually go up to the steps, there's this like really cool little mini office section where it's got like the hazmat suits, it's got a load of suitcases, briefcases. It's a really nice little detail that goes into the storyline of the ride and really helps to get you immersed into the experience. But it's also just a really nice bit of theme in there to really maximise on this big slab of concrete that, apart from going inside to the you know, underneath the attraction, there's not really much else going on. There's like little graphics of like information about the ride and all the features and whatnot. But that little corner there, when you do go up before the steps, try and get a good look at it because there's some nice theming in there. And obviously, like I said, it really does help to get you immersed into the story for a attraction that's only going to last a few minutes. Now, you'll go up the stairs. You'll obviously get sat on either side of the train. So you'll obviously on the side to see the Blade, or you'll obviously sit on this side where you get to see the Galactica and the roller coaster restaurant there. And obviously, you sit on in, you pull your harness down. Now, you put your bags towards the front of the ride, so literally in front of you. Now, you may be thinking, oh, the ride's gonna, it's, you know, it's going to fall straight down. It doesn't. Essentially what happens is the whole platform itself just comes down, and in front of you you've just got these two massive fountain tanks, which is meant to represent the Wasparium itself. It's got the massive fountains jetting up with water, a lot like Ripsaw there. To either side of you, you've got these huge metal tanks that hold the Wasparium as well. But what's really cool is they've got a nice like LED feature all around it. So it kind of plays like this transition of where like the Wasparium builds up in the tank, it goes red. So essentially what happens is, there's like 3 sequences. Now, like I said, there's a bunch of programs that it can run reportedly. However, as of recording, it's only really been known to run. However, we know there is going to be more in the summer. But essentially what happens is it's like codename Alpha, I think it was, or Program Alpha. And essentially it's kind of like works in 3 stages. So the first stage, you know, you're going upwards and round, you're not really doing any rotating, you do a little bit of leaning towards the fountains, like you're going head first into the fountains, and it's the same on the other side, so you're going like real backwards there. And bear in mind, when you're 78 feet in the air already, it's a really nervous sensation, one of those where you are putting a lot of trust in those restraints to keep you in position. And yeah, it's obviously trying to just get you to, you know, experience what it is, get a nice little bit of movement there. It then kind of kicks into like, okay, let's initiate a bit more pressure into it. It's like phase 2, where it starts to introduce the rotation, where you just go and just starts flipping you around. Not to mention it also picks up the speed now. And then it goes into like a final phase. So this is essentially like, we're going to go overdrive, put all the power into it. The tanks on the side actually start glowing red, so it shows like they're putting all their energy into this, and that's where you really just start flipping and flipping. Literally, right at the end of the sequence, you'll get to the top and you'll just flip 4 or 5 times straight away. You just like, oh, yeah, it's a really great, intense experience. Not massively so in the sense of you just rising and forth. You know, it gives you a little bit of a breather in between those phases. However, it's just, you know, it keeps you on edge. Like I said, it keeps you really intense. You do the sequences, and then, you know, you're prepared to like almost get dunked into this Wasparium. The ride ends, you come back to a nice little gentle halt, raise the platform up, and then you exit to the other side of the attraction, essentially making your way down into Bunker 94 there. Now, what did I think of it? Well, of course, we got to experience it at night, and let's just say it is a stunning experience there. Just getting to see all the lighting and how it really plays into it. The green as it cascades over the area. You've got these bright LED lights that are stung on the bottom of the train. So when you're flipping on, you're just seeing these flashing lights going around. Not to mention the tanks as well. You know, you can really capture the detail there. I thought that was a really cool experience. It's something that for me, I'm going to admit, I was going nervous into it. I know a lot of people going nervous into this experience. It's not something that is particularly around much anymore in the UK. Obviously, we had Ripsaw, Ramesses Revenge at Chessington World of Adventures. But like I said, if you really want to experience these rides, the likes of Talican and whatnot across the country, you know, for most people, they don't get to experience that. So to see Alton Towers do this there, and not, like I said, although it's not Ripsaw, at least a nod back to it, it's nice to see Alton Towers go for that experience, and I think they've done a really fantastic job here. It's just so well themed, and for a flat ride they put a lot of attention to detail into it to really immerse you into that experience, and I think that's something that's really going to sting well here, especially theming it into the valley, because you can kind of imagine Nemesis and Ripsaw at the time arguably were 2 separate identities, but now they've really taken the consideration into feeding this into the area along with Subterra. Let's just hope Galactica will eventually see the light of day. Obviously we know that there will be more sequences to be run in the future. There is talks of the water fountains squirting onto people, which will also be a program. It's also more than likely going to run some different, you know, code names as it goes through the sequence. The water one interests me because when it was Ripsaw, that was one of the issues that it had, because it kept getting sprayed so much with water. It was actually ruined the ride, and it was really affecting some of the lot of the theming. So I can understand why they do it in the summer, but then at the same time you've got to think, is it going to ruin the attraction? We'll have to wait and see. And like I said, the only real thing I would have liked to see personally, I would have liked to have seen and experienced a different program, because bear in mind it feels like everyone's been experiencing the same, and it doesn't really offer that much of a different opportunity when everyone's experiencing the same attraction. But again, for the opening day, it was the first public experience got on Toxicator. That's absolutely fine. It's nothing to complain about for me. And yeah, it's just a really great attraction. Something that I think when Merlin, especially given the cuts that are going on to it, but when this attraction shows the amount of quality they're willing to put into a flat ride, bear in mind, not a roller coaster, a flat ride, it's absolutely great to see, and it's something that not only we hope that Alton Towers can achieve across the rest of the parks. You know, if the Huss deal is reportedly true, that we will see more flat rides coming to the park. There's also rumours as of recording that Monkey Swinger from Chesterton, following the closure of Wild Asia, hopefully could see its way into Alton Towers, you know, replacing the twirling toadstools. That would be something interesting there. But like I said, if they're willing to put this much emphasis into a flat ride, it's got to fill you with confidence. They did a great job with Nemesis Reborn last year. They've done a great job with Toxicator this year. Let's just hope that they can build up on this, add some more flat rides. Because bear in mind, the Blade's gone now. Fabius Fandango's gone. So that whole World of David Walliams area is in a dire state of need a new attraction or just a complete refresh of the area. We don't count the dungeons because nobody cares about that. But like I said, get some more flat rides in there, give it the appropriate amount of theming that you've given it to Toxicator, and you will absolutely do yourself a good job there. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, guys. Bit of a long one, but like I said, I wanted to share my thoughts on the ride. Hopefully we'll get to see it in the daytime on our next visit to Alton Towers, whenever that may be. A night ride, if you do get to do it as a recording, please go and try it at Alton after dark. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until Scarefest. It's a great experience. There's also some really cool features, like at the end of the day, they'll do like a shutdown effect where it's like goodbye Nemesis or goodnight Nemesis. When the ride has downtime, it actually appears like there's a guy inside of the tanks itself cleaning it. It's those little attention to details that really make it well. So go and experience it for yourself, guys. Give it a go and see what your thoughts are. But I hope you have enjoyed this review. Please leave any comments down below if you did have a go on this ride and what your thoughts are. But without further ado, I'll see you for the next video, and I hope you have enjoyed.